Mental health, as defined by the World Health Organization, is a state of well-being in which individuals realize their own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, work productively and fruitfully, and contribute to their communities. Now, have you ever wondered why two people can experience the same event, yet react in completely different ways? This question lies at the heart of the mental health puzzle. It's a complex and fascinating field, as varied and individual as the people it affects. But when mental health is compromised, it can affect every aspect of a person's life, from their thoughts and feelings to their ability to carry out daily tasks. The World Health Organization estimates that nearly 1 in 4 people worldwide will be affected by mental or neurological disorders at some point in their lives. That's a staggering figure. It underscores the fact that mental health conditions are not rare or isolated issues. They're part of our collective human experience. In the same vein, mental health conditions are not one size fits all. They can manifest in myriad ways. For some, it might be a constant feeling of worry or fear. For others, it could be feelings of extreme highs and lows. From depression and anxiety to bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, these conditions are as we are. Yet, despite this diversity, there are common threads that bind these conditions together. They're often characterized by alterations in thinking, mood, or behavior, and they can cause distress or impair functioning in everyday life. Understanding mental health is crucial. It's not just about diagnosing and treating conditions, although that's certainly important. It's about recognizing the signs and symptoms, breaking down the stigma, and creating an environment where people feel supported and understood. It's about acknowledging the fact that mental health is just as important as physical health. And it's about realizing that everyone has a role to play in promoting mental health, from healthcare professionals to teachers, parents, and friends. By understanding more about mental health, we can better support those who are struggling and create a healthier society. It's a puzzle, yes, but it's one that we can solve together. And that journey of understanding and support begins right here, right now. Mental health conditions are not just one thing. They form a broad spectrum from depression to anxiety, schizophrenia, and beyond. Let's start with depression. It's more than just feeling blue or having a bad day. It's a constant feeling of sadness and loss of interest that can interfere with daily functioning. People with depression often grapple with feelings of worthlessness, difficulties with concentration, and in severe cases, suicidal thoughts. Then we have anxiety disorders, which are characterized by a general feeling of excessive fear and worry. This can manifest in several forms, like panic disorders, where a person experiences sudden attacks of fear, and social anxiety disorder, where a person feels overwhelming worry and self-consciousness about everyday social situations. Bipolar disorder, on the other hand, involves dramatic shifts in mood, energy, and activity levels. People with this condition experience periods of unusually intense emotion, changes in sleep patterns and activity levels, and uncharacteristic behaviors, often without any warning. Schizophrenia, a more severe mental disorder, affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. It may seem like they have lost touch with reality, which can be a frightening experience for them and the people around them. Then there are personality disorders, like borderline personality disorder, where a person has an intense fear of abandonment and can have difficulty maintaining stable relationships. Or obsessive-compulsive disorder, where a person has recurring, unwanted thoughts or obsessions and feels the urge to repeat certain behaviors or rituals. Eating disorders like anorexia nervosa, bulimia nervosa, and binge eating disorder are also part of the mental health spectrum. These conditions involve serious problems with eating and body image, often driven by an intense fear of gaining weight. And finally, post-traumatic stress disorder, often triggered by a terrifying event, can cause flashbacks, nightmares, and severe anxiety, as well as uncontrollable thoughts about the event. Each of these mental health conditions is unique, with its own set of symptoms and impacts on an individual's life. Diving deeper into the realm of depression, it's not just feeling sad or down, it's a persistent feeling of despair that affects every aspect of life. Depression is like an unwelcome guest that overstays its welcome, affecting one's thoughts, feelings, and actions over a prolonged period. It's not a sign of weakness or a character flaw. It's a real medical condition with real symptoms. It's more than just a bout of the blues. It's a complex mix of social, psychological, and biological factors. Let's talk about the signs and symptoms of depression. It often starts subtly, perhaps with a lingering feeling of sadness or loss of interest in activities once enjoyed. Over time, these feelings become more intense, leading to a host of physical and emotional symptoms. These may include persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, or emptiness, decreased energy or fatigue, difficulty sleeping or oversleeping, changes in appetite or weight, difficulty concentrating, and in severe cases, thoughts of death or suicide. However, depression doesn't look the same for everyone. Some people may experience these symptoms most of the day, nearly every day, while others might only experience them occasionally. It's also important to note that depression can occur at any age, but often begins in adulthood. Now, let's debunk some common misconceptions about depression. It's not something that people can simply snap out of. It's not a condition that someone chooses to have, and it's certainly not a condition that should be ignored or brushed off. Depression is a serious mental health condition that requires understanding, patience, and professional treatment. Depression can be debilitating, casting a shadow over every facet of life. However, it's not a life sentence. With the right help and support, individuals can manage their symptoms and lead fulfilling lives. It's important to remember that seeking help isn't a sign of weakness, but a step towards reclaiming your life. Remember, it's okay not to be okay, and it's more than okay to seek help. Depression can be debilitating, but with the right help and support, individuals can manage their symptoms and lead fulfilling lives. Anxiety is not just feeling nervous or worried. It's a pervasive sense of fear that can interfere with daily life. This is the reality of anxiety disorders, a category of mental health conditions that, more often than not, are misunderstood and misinterpreted. Let's start by understanding what an anxiety disorder really is. It's an umbrella term covering several different forms of abnormal and pathological fear and anxiety. These include generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, social anxiety disorder, specific phobias, and separation anxiety disorder, among others. Each of these disorders has unique characteristics, but they all revolve around excessive, long-lasting fear and anxiety in situations where most people wouldn't feel threatened. Take generalized anxiety disorder, for example. It's not just about feeling stressed or worried about certain situations, but rather, it's a constant state of high-level anxiety about various aspects of life, often without any apparent reason. Panic disorder, on the other hand, is characterized by recurrent, unexpected panic attacks that bring intense fear and physical symptoms. Then, there's social anxiety disorder, where individuals experience intense fear of social situations, worrying excessively about being humiliated or embarrassed. Specific phobias involve intense fear of a specific object or situation, while separation anxiety disorder is more common in children who have excessive anxiety about being separated from those to whom they are attached. Now, let's debunk some common misconceptions. No, anxiety disorders are not a sign of weakness or a character flaw. They are real, serious medical conditions just like heart disease or diabetes. And yes, they are treatable. Many people with anxiety disorders live fulfilling lives, thanks to a range of treatment options that include psychotherapy, medication, and various self-care strategies. Another misconception is that people with anxiety disorders should just be able to get over it. This is far from the truth. Overcoming an anxiety disorder takes time and professional help. It's not something that can be done overnight, and it's certainly not something that can be achieved through willpower alone. Anxiety disorders can be challenging to live with, but with proper treatment and support, individuals can manage their symptoms and thrive. So let's continue to educate ourselves and others, and foster a world that's supportive and understanding of all mental health conditions. Bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, while different, both involve episodes where reality is perceived differently. Let's dive deeper into understanding these two complex mental health conditions. Bipolar disorder, formerly known as manic depression, is characterized by extreme mood swings that include emotional highs or mania and lows or depression. During a manic phase, an individual might feel euphoric, have an inflated self-esteem, need less sleep, and exhibit more goal-directed activity or agitation. When experiencing depressive episodes, they may feel hopeless, lose interest in activities they once enjoyed, or even have thoughts of suicide. On the other hand, schizophrenia is a long-term mental health condition that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. It's often wrongly portrayed in media, leading to widespread misconceptions. People with schizophrenia don't have split personalities, and they are not inherently dangerous or violent. They may experience symptoms such as hallucinations, hearing voices others don't, and delusions. They might also have difficulty concentrating, maintaining a train of thought, or interacting socially. Now, let's debunk some common myths. Firstly, bipolar disorder isn't just ordinary mood swings. It's much more severe, impacting a person's ability to function in daily life. Secondly, schizophrenia doesn't mean you're crazy. It's a serious illness that requires understanding and medical intervention. Neither bipolar disorder nor schizophrenia are the result of personal failure or a lack of willpower. They are complex conditions that arise from a combination of genetic, biological, environmental, and psychological factors. The good news is, both conditions are treatable. Treatment typically involves a combination of medication, psychotherapy, and social support. It's crucial to remember that with the right help and management, people with these conditions can lead fulfilling lives. These disorders can significantly impact an individual's life, but with proper treatment and support, they can manage their symptoms and lead fulfilling lives. Recognizing the need for help is the first step towards recovery. This pivotal step is often the most challenging, but also the most rewarding. When we're grappling with mental health issues, it's easy to feel isolated, overwhelmed, and unsure where to turn. That's why seeking professional help is so crucial. Professional help comes in many forms and is tailored to the individual's needs. These mental health professionals are trained to understand the complexities of the human mind and can provide the guidance, support, and treatment needed to navigate the journey towards recovery. One of the primary forms of treatment is psychotherapy or talk therapy. This involves talking through your thoughts, feelings, and experiences with a licensed therapist or counselor. Through these conversations, you can gain a better understanding of your mental health condition, learn coping strategies, and start to heal. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is a common type of psychotherapy that helps individuals identify and change negative thought patterns that lead to harmful behaviors and emotions. Another type, dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, combines CBT techniques with mindfulness practices to manage intense emotions and improve relationships. Medication is another treatment option and can be used in conjunction with therapy. Psychiatrists can prescribe medication to help manage symptoms of various mental health conditions. It's important to remember that medication affects everyone differently, and it may take time to find the right one for you. For some, group therapy can be beneficial. Sharing your experiences and hearing from others who are going through similar struggles can provide a sense of community and understanding. It's a reminder that you are not alone in this journey. In more severe cases, hospitalization or residential treatment may be necessary. These intensive programs provide round-the-clock care and a structured environment to help individuals stabilize and begin the healing process. In the end, the most important thing to remember is that help is available and recovery is possible. It's not a linear journey and it may take time, but progress is progress, no matter how small. Remember, seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a step towards wellness. So, what have we learned about mental health today? We off on an exploration, piecing together the intricate puzzle that is mental health, understanding that its value is parallel to that of physical health. We recognize that mental health is a complex dynamic of emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It's the pivot point that determines how we think, feel, act, handle stress, relate to others, and make choices. Our journey then took a deep dive into the expansive spectrum of mental health conditions, highlighting their complexity and uniqueness. These conditions stretch across a vast range, from mild to moderate and severe. They can be episodic or chronic, and they affect every individual differently. Our next port of call was depression. an all-too-common but serious mood disorder that triggers severe symptoms influencing how one feels, thinks, and copes with daily activities. We discovered that depression extends beyond just feeling blue. It's a persistently overwhelming feeling of sadness and loss of interest that can breed a plethora of emotional and physical complications. Anxiety disorders also found a spot under our microscope. We demystified that these disorders extend beyond occasional nervousness or worry. They involve intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about common everyday situations and can hinder daily life. Understanding bipolar disorder and schizophrenia became a crucial part of our conversation. We understood that bipolar disorder, marked by extreme mood shifts, and schizophrenia, a grave mental disorder affecting a person's thinking, feeling, and behavior, are intricate conditions necessitating thorough care and management. Just before this recap, we delved into the significance of seeking help and treatment. Mental health conditions are real, prevalent, and treatable. Acknowledging the issue and seeking help is the initial step towards recovery. There exist a plethora of treatments, including psychotherapy, medications, and self-care practices that can effectively manage these conditions. In essence, mental health must not be taken lightly or overlooked. It is a critical part of our overall health. The signs and symptoms of mental health conditions are diverse and can influence every bit of life. But with understanding, empathy, and proper treatment, these conditions are manageable, allowing individuals to lead satisfying lives. Remember, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to seek help. It's okay to talk about mental health. The more we talk about it, the more we can shatter the stigma that surrounds mental health. Understanding and discussing mental health is of utmost importance for our well-being and the well-being of those around us. Let's continue to learn, help, and grow together. And before we wrap up, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more intriguing and informative videos.